Hey, how's it going out there? And welcome to the first ever Hot Topic Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to everyone. I'm Jay and this is Hot Topic Tuesday. Now this is one of two new video blogs that we're launching here on Eden Fish. And the goal here is to spark conversation and deeper thought into some of the important and relevant topics in Christian life and in Jesus' church. And so some of the topics that we cover here will be lighthearted, and some of the topics might be a little bit heavier and a little bit more weighty. But my promise to you is that our conversations here will always strive to be relevant. Have you ever asked yourself whether it was okay for a Christian to own a Ferrari? Or what about a big, huge mansion, or big old fatty diamond rings or jewelry? Is it a sin for a Christian to own such luxurious and expensive things? After all, aren't Christians supposed to be separated from the material trappings of this world? Aren't they supposed to live humble, unostentatious lives? Doesn't Jesus look down on the rich but lift up the poor? Or how about WWJD? What would Jesus drive? And this is a question that hits close to home for me too. Obviously I'm not exactly living in a mansion here, but I've got my Google phone. I have a laptop, netbook, I have an Xbox, I have a plasma TV. And maybe for you, you have your Coach or your Louis Vuitton bag, you have an iPhone, you're wearing expensive clothing, whatever. What about all of that stuff? What does Jesus think about all this stuff that we own and we spend our money on? Is it a sin for a Christian to have a plasma TV or a Mercedes-Benz? And so this is kind of the question that I want to explore today on our first Hot Topic Tuesday. And the first thing that I did was to kind of put some thought to, what if it was a sin for Christians to own expensive things? And what would that look like? And so I was kind of thinking about it. And I think basically what it would mean is that, when we go to the market, when we go shopping, it's generic all the way, right? No name brands. And when I go shopping for clothing, it's pretty much Walmart or Target. And when you buy a car, forget about getting a sports car. It's pretty much Kia, maybe a Hyundai or whatever. And I guess we should probably be, not be going out to restaurants and things like that, but we should just be at home eating rice porridge or gruel or something like that every night. Is that what it looks like to be a Christian? Is that what a Christian life is supposed to be? Is it a sin for us to live any more luxuriously than that? Now, there's a lot of ways that we could approach this conversation, but I think the most helpful thoughts come from Jesus' teaching recorded in the book of Matthew. And so Jesus, he says this: "Do not store up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But store up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy and where thieves do not break in and steal." Now I think at the core of what Jesus is trying to say here is that the treasures of this world, material goods, material possessions, they're very temporary. A new car, a new computer, new clothes, they only last so long before they start to fade, or they become obsolete, or we just get tired of them, right? And so what Jesus is really saying here is, don't waste all of your life and all of your energy on treasures that really don't last, but rather seek out treasures in heaven which don't fade and are not temporary but eternal. If I could borrow a quote from Greg Laurie, he said, "I've never seen a hearse pulling a trailer behind it." Right? And that's so true, right? Once you're gone, you can't take these things with you. The treasures of this world, they are very, very temporary and not lasting. But I think Jesus has an even more profound thought that he's trying to convey here. And he makes it in his very next statement. He says, "For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." Do you understand what he's trying to say there? Where your treasure is. Your treasures are the things that you spend your time, your money, and your energy on. The things that you aspire to have or to do or accomplish. These are your treasures. And that is what's valuable to you. And Jesus is saying here, where your treasure is, the things that you spend your time, your money, your energy on, that is where your heart is. And ultimately, those are the things that your heart belongs to. And so the problem with being overly attached to material possessions, like nice houses or nice cars, nice clothes, gadgets, is not only that they are temporary and that they fade, but that they have a tendency to distract us from the things that are more important and of greater value in life. Such as living for God, storing up treasures in heaven, relationships, our family. That material possessions just have this tendency to distract us from the things that are more important and of greater importance, a greater value in life. That's why it says in 1 Timothy, the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and many who are eager for it have wandered from the faith. And Jesus himself says here in a few verses later, no one can serve two masters. You cannot serve both God and wealth. And so I think we all need to kind of take a look at ourselves and see where our hearts are. There's a lot of freedom in Christ. You could look through the Bible all day for the commandment about owning Ferraris or owning big houses. You're not going to find it. It's not in there. But something that you will find in the Bible is that it says, all things are lawful to me, but not all things are beneficial. And so, is it a sin for a Christian to own a Ferrari or a plasma TV or expensive clothes? No, not necessarily. But I think we do need to ask ourselves, what is my treasure? What am I investing my money and my time into? Why do I want a Ferrari? Or why do I want such a big house? Or why do I want such expensive clothes? Why do I want to be going on these expensive trips all the time? And I hope that we can realize that ultimately these treasures of the earth, they don't last. They fade. And they also have this tendency to distract us from investing our time and our money and our energy into what's really important. Investing our time and money and energy into God, into our families, into relationships, into giving. And so as followers of Jesus Christ and people who are citizens of heaven, let's pursue the greater treasures and invest our money and our time and our lives into God's kingdom, into relationships, our families, and giving. Well, if you have any more thoughts on this topic, please leave us a comment. And please tell your friends about us, link us on Facebook, on Twitter, and spread the word about Eden Fish and Hot Topic Tuesdays. And make sure that you check back with us later this week when we launch Theology Thursdays. All right? So see you next time.